You Democrats in power, vote for a resolution for Charlie Kirk.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show. By popular demand, I am dressed up again today. It's because it's Sunday when I'm filming this, and I'm back from church, and it's just easier to stay dressed up and hopefully looking good. I hope everyone doesn't mind the purple motif going on today. But listen, before we get on with the rest of the show, we do need to thank today's sponsor. It is at Mama J 1975. Thank you very much, Mama J. Now, this is the second episode in a row that you have sponsored, so a special tip of the hat for you. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day today. All right, let's get on with the rest of the show. Let's do it. All right, my friends, it is Meme Monday, except really every day is a meme day for this show because, as you know, I totally love memes. So let's jump into the first one. It is any suggestions on how I can appear more feminine? That's a good question, I guess, if that's how you want to roll. I can think of at least a few things right off the top of my head, but let's see what advice this gentleman was given. Oh, yeah, sure. Don't rest your nutsack on the sink. That is always good advice because, yeah, that's a dead giveaway. You're not a woman. Sorry, my man. All right, my friends, it is time to play Liberal Ideology. And today's topics are offensive and normal. That's right, my friends. What are the differences in a liberal mind? What is normal and offensive to them? Let's find out right now. Oh, that would be offensive to a liberal mind. I can see at least two reasons why that could be offensive to them. If you get my meaning. All right, well, let's see. Let's see what's normal, because this is probably going to be pretty good. Oh, gosh. There is absolutely nothing normal about that. But to a liberal, yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you for playing Liberal Ideology. Have you ever heard the term stochastic terrorism? Well, up until yesterday, I've never heard of that term, but it is definitely now part of my vocabulary, part of my vernacular going forward. It is what the Dems are doing, the method they are deploying, and they've been doing it at least for the last 10 years, probably longer, maybe my entire lifetime. But let me show you what it is so that we both know exactly what I'm talking about. Stochastic terrorism describes the use of rhetoric to incite statistically probable but individually unpredictable acts of violence, often by influencing individuals predisposed to violent behavior. The rhetoric is typically indirect and employs plausible deniability, which we are going to see by Jasmine Crockett in the video when we get to it in just a bit. The spread of this phenomenon is magnified by mass media and social media, which can transform implicit messages into explicit calls for hate and violence. Well, let's just break it down a little bit more. Some key characteristics: public demonization. Is that familiar to everybody? Influential individuals or media figures publicly demonize a person or group, often through inflammatory or dehumanizing language, like he's a Nazi, right? We've all heard that 1 billion times over the last 10 years. Indirect incitement. The language used is implicit, vague, or coded rather than direct calls for violence. And lastly, statistically probable, individually unpredictable violence. This is while the specific perpetrator or time of violence cannot be predicted, the overall likelihood of violent acts against the target increases. Here's a comic strip talking about stochastic terrorism, even though it doesn't know that it's doing it. My opponent is the worst type of person. If he wins, democracy is over. Yeah, it's like a snapshot of CNN, right? Everything you love will be destroyed. Everyone you love will be killed or imprisoned. We've got those concentration camps now, everybody. We've all heard that from the liberals. Bang. Oh no! How could this happen? Violence is never acceptable. Also ban guns. Yeah, it's sick. Here's a clip from Schumer when Tucker Carlson was let go from Fox. And it wasn't just, oh, I think Tucker Carlson's a bad host. Maybe his messaging is not great. But no, it's much, much worse. Because if Tucker Carlson stays on air, well, our democracy depends on that he gets let go and never goes on Fox again. Our democracy depends on it. Let's take a look.
Rupert Murdoch, who has admitted they were lies and said he regretted it, has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth, and from letting him go on again and again and again. Not because their views deserve such opprobrium, but because our democracy depends on it.
Lately, Tampon Tim is a perfect person to demonstrate how the Democrats deploy stochastic terrorism. Let's take a look.
But we're talking about this political violence thing. We have got to get back to the decency.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Up next, we have a clip of Omar defending her position that Kirk is basically a horrible human being, a piece of trash, and we shouldn't do anything to mortalize him or his message. This woman is absolutely vile, and watching this clip, it actually kind of made me, do I dare say, angry? She is such a horrible person. I have no idea how she's still a member of Congress. I hope there are efforts to get her out. And personally, I would love to see her deported. She is so anti-American. She hates this country, and she wears that ideology really on her sleeve. Anyways, take a look.
I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath.
What I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
Here's an example of that poisonous venom spewing out of the mouth of Charlie Kirk. So says that wretched woman that we just watched. Let's take a look.
I want to live in a country where if a woman does not want to go to work having to have a kid, she does not have to go to work, and she could stay at home and raise those kids. We should all seek to build that country. It's good for men, it's good for women, it's good for kids, good for family, good for community. It's not knocking people that use daycare at all. If you have to use daycare, God bless you, I know it's tough, but honestly, too many people have to. In 1980s, a father working was able to support an entire family. Now things are so expensive, homes are out of reach, inflation has crushed us. Both the man and the woman have to go into the workforce. That is bad. It is bad for everybody. It creates strangers raising our kids. And also it creates women that have to go into the workforce that are unhappy in their job because they'd rather have their 6-month-old baby in their arms. And honestly, it's much more important for you to raise your 6-month-old baby than crunching numbers on a spreadsheet for some company that doesn't even know your name.
I can't stress how vile that woman is. She is an absolutely horrible human being. And maybe by saying that, maybe I'm participating in stochastic terrorism. I don't know, but she is just the worst. All right, here's that video that I came across the other day, and it just nails it to the T. This horrible method straight out of the communism playbook, by the way. I played a video a couple episodes ago from 1943 talking exactly about this, and they're in full stochastic terrorism mode, and they've been in that mode for the last 10 plus years. Something needs to be done about this. Check out this video.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
It's called stochastic terrorism. The term sounds complicated, but the meaning is simple. Stochastic means random, unpredictable, but statistically inevitable. Terrorism here means the use of fear and violence for political gain. Put together, it describes a process where leaders, parties, or the press use words, not bullets, to inspire violence. They demonize their opponents, calling them monsters, traitors, or worse. They never say pull the trigger. Instead, they create the environment where someone else eventually will. That is the essence of stochastic terrorism. The pattern is always the same. 1. Inflammatory language is broadcast into the culture. 2. Plausible deniability shields the speaker. I never told anyone to commit violence. 3. A radicalized or unstable individual acts. 4. The cycle repeats. The responsibility is avoided. This is not accidental. This is willful and deliberate. They know exactly what they are doing, and history proves it. Nazi Germany, Joseph Goebbels' propaganda machine labeled Jews as subhuman and vermin. The German people were told these neighbors were a threat to society itself. Violence became inevitable, and millions looked the other way. Rwanda, 1994. The radio station RTLM called the Tutsi minority cockroaches. That language primed the minds of ordinary citizens to carry out one of the fastest genocides in history. Do you see the pattern? The language comes first, the violence follows. Today in America, a domestic terrorism movement grows, not in the shadows, but in broad daylight. When the left calls their political opponents Nazis, evil, or enemies of the people, their objective is clear: dehumanize them, justify their removal, and silence them through fear. My lifelong question has always been, how could the German people look the other way as the Nazis carried out the final solution? Now you are seeing the answer in real time, in the sickening spectacle of people cheering the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The Democrat Party has a responsibility. The press has a responsibility, and so do the universities, which have poisoned impressionable minds with hatred, intolerance, and a warped view of history. Together, they have manufactured the conditions for violence. They must face that responsibility. They must accept culpability, because when you light the fuse, you cannot act surprised when the explosion comes. My friends, we are all anonymous, and today we are Charlie Kirk. They fear us not because we are violent, but because we see through their lies.
We have a Timo Hitler in the White House right now.
I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever.
All right, my friends, it is time. We have arrived at the liberal pool of madness, so sit back, relax, and buckle up. We're about to enter the Lib Zone.
Well, they admitted to being pro-fascist by calling the Antifa organization, which doesn't exist because anti-fascism is just an ideology. It's not an organization. By calling them terrorists. So, I'm gonna go back to sleep. You can wake me up when the fascist takeover is done.
So, those of you who do not protest, do not do the occupation at ICE detention centers and stuff like that, do you know what's going on? Do you know that the president himself has threatened to directly wipe us out, us Portland protesters? Like, wipe us out means he wants to kill us. And now he has designated us as a terrorist organization. How are we an organization? Like, we are literal random people who showed up to protect our communities. That's who we are. And now we're fucking terrorists for standing on a sidewalk and saying some hilariously mean things to fucking Nazis. So, yeah, like, this is bad. Are you people who are not on the street paying attention? Because they are going to kill your activist friends. Like, flat out kill us. And, as from what I'm seeing from the dialogue, y'all will blame us. So, I don't know what you expect to happen here, but they're not gonna fucking stop with us. Like, they're already deplatforming Jimmy.
So I'm watching the special celebration that they're having for Charlie Kirk and his passing or whatever, and just be ready, guys. The verbiage that they are using to describe what they will do about the incident, it's not to be taken lightly. They are using strong and violent language that seems geared towards people who are not in the same mindset as them. Just be aware. It honestly gives old Germany rally, if you catch my drift. And it's really crazy to me that they aren't even bringing up the fact that this wasn't a left-wing person who did this to Charlie. It was a very alt-right person who just happened to not like Charlie. But of course, this administration is going to use all of this as fuel for the fire. This is what they've been waiting for, if they didn't cause this themselves. They needed a reason for a civil. And now they have one.
Nancy Mace's office, how can I help you? Hi, I had seen that Trump declared Antifa a terrorist organization. And just so you know, what Antifa is just anti-fascism. That's all it is. People that are anti-fascist. So if he's declaring that a terrorist organization, what do you think, logically speaking, that makes you?
Sir, I would direct your comments toward the Trump White House.
Well, I'm gonna direct them to you too, because you're working for the representative, and this is also directed towards the representative. So logically speaking, what does that make you if Trump is calling a group of people that are just anti-fascist?
Continue to try to attempt to call me a fascist.
Oh, it's not an attempt. I'm calling you a fascist. I am calling you a fascist, and I'm calling the Congresswoman a fascist. I am 100% calling you a fascist, just like Trump is calling you a fascist. Trump is declaring himself a fascist. So now that you know that you're a fascist, and you got it through your brain, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue working for the fascist regime, or are you going to quit? That's a question. Are you going to continue working for the fascist regime and go to prison when this fascist regime fails, or are you going to quit? I'm going to take it as you're going to continue working for the fascist regime. Have a terrible day, you fascist piece of shit. You.
So we've just witnessed an evolution in the thinking of the libs, right? Part of their stochastic terrorism is now, since President Trump has designated Antifa as a terrorist group, they are now going to spread the lies that President Trump really just wants to kill them all, just because they don't think the way that President Trump or the people on the right think, which is absolutely an insane position to take. But that is what you're going to start hearing, I think, from now on going forward. I mean, we've seen it in the last few clips that we watched. There is a serious mental breakdown on the left, and we're seeing it in real time.
I'm just gonna say it, because all of you are thinking it. And I can't keep my mouth shut. Why Charlie Kirk? Yeah, he's annoying. But there were two better candidates if you were gonna get the job done. And before you tag the official FBI account, make sure it's the FBI.
Y'all keep saying that Trey Reed's death wasn't a lynching but a suicide. And you keep using the words committed suicide, which is driving me up the wall, but that's for another video. You keep saying that the authorities and the coroner ruled it as a suicide, failing to recognize that coroners and authorities have worked side by side with white supremacists for years. It wouldn't be that hard for them to cover something like this up. But all that aside, let's entertain the idea for a moment that Trey Reed died by suicide. Can anyone tell me why a young black man living in Mississippi would choose to kill themselves? This is the part where everyone will blame his mental health and say that he had depression. This is exactly how the pathologization of suicide is used to uphold oppressive thinking and oppressive systems. You all are not ready to acknowledge the fact that suicide is political. People die by suicide because the life that they exist in is unlivable. And the things that make their life unlivable are directly connected to the culture in which we live. So even if Trey Reed did die by suicide, which I am skeptical about to be clear, his suicide would still be political because of the fact that he is a black man living in a predominantly white state. A state that has historical cultural ties to lynching, along with all the other ways that systemic racism makes a black person's life unlivable. You think that saying because his death was a suicide and not a lynching, that means his death is no longer political. But suicide is political. When are we gonna realize that people don't die by suicide because they're mentally ill? They die by suicide because the world is unlivable.
What, are you retarded?
I found a clip from Malcolm X, and he's talking about white people, specifically those white people that call themselves liberals, and how white liberals try to fix the problems, but they don't ever. And basically, he's saying that a white liberal is the most dangerous, deceitful type of person in the Western Hemisphere. It's very enlightening. Take a look.
Many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling.
Do you want to see my little scientific drawing that I've made?
Sure, yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. If the shooter was on top of a building,
okay,
which had a tree in front of it, okay?
Yeah.
And the distance between there and him was like roughly 200 feet.
No, that's actually totally wrong. If anything, it was 200 to 250 yards, which is a lot more than 250 feet. So, okay, you're wrong on that point, but let's keep going.
And there was a slope.
True.
And he was at ground level here, underneath a 12-foot canopy, sitting on a 2-foot riser.
Okay. I love how her drawing is completely accurate to scale.
Canopy had like a little, whatchamacallit over the front of it.
Yes, the whatchamacallit is very critical to her analysis, so keep that in mind.
So, yeah, my line is wrong, but how?
I don't think that's the only thing.
How?
Okay. Yeah.
How? By
pulling the trigger?
And further, if he's here
Okay.
And the direction is this way.
Yeah.
Why did all the red stuff go that way?
Hmm.
And why were his shoes white? And why did they take down the camera that was right here?
Okay, that might be a good point. I'll give you that.
And why didn't they tape off the scene?
Sid McKidd says, someone get the FBI on the phone. We have an untapped savant that cracked the case. Well, you know, honestly, I've seen some videos lately from ex-snipers, military snipers, that have viewed and analyzed the footage of the assassination. And I'll be honest, there seems like there are some discrepancies in the footage and to where they're saying the shot came from. Now, I don't know if Robinson actually did it. I'm not sure if the FBI is actually telling us the truth. I hope that they are. And I hope they actually got the man that did this horrible act. But look, Charlie deserves the truth in this matter, because that's what he was all about. That's how he lived his life. That's what he preached. And he deserves, and we deserve as a nation to know exactly what really happened. It's just, it's still affecting me. I gotta tell you, not gonna lie.
When did racism just become normal? I thought you guys were also taught growing up empathy in school. Do we not remember the days where we all hold hands for like the freaking banners where we're all in this together? Why is everyone so racist now? What happened? What's going on? What?
What are you talking about? We never held hands in class when I was growing up, in elementary or otherwise. What are they doing in school these days anyways? Seems like it's kind of crazy.
Just a fun, friendly thought for the people who deleted their Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions today. Go ahead and get Peacock to replace that. And we're going to wait over the course of the next couple weeks to see what happens with Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers' shows. And if NBC decides to crumble at the feet of the Donald Trump regime, then we all delete that subscription as well. And we show all of these asshole corporations that they can't do capitalism very well if we won't give them our money. And if NBC does the right thing for their employees and the American people, then we just keep the Peacock subscription, because who doesn't love a Parks and Rec or a New Girl binge? It's just kind of a win-win. We either say, F you, we don't bend to fascists, or we get a fun binge.
When my daughter says, I'm a girl, I say, yes, you identify as a girl. And when she says, we're girls, I say, yeah, we identify as female. And then when she says, is daddy a boy? I say, yeah, daddy chooses to identify as a boy. And she was like, could he ever be a girl? And I was like, well, if he ever wanted to identify as a girl, he could, etc., etc.
She is so close to being correct, but she is absolutely missing the mark. She can't lock down the idea, the concept that there are only two genders, male and female. And but she's close. She's getting there. So there's hope. Transgenderism is the only mental illness demanding that the rest of society adopt the patient's delusion as part of the patient's treatment. Dr. Paul McHugh, distinguished service professor of psychiatry, Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Well, it seems like he knows what he's talking about.
I don't understand what is so hard about correcting other people when they misgender others. Like, it takes you like 2 seconds, but you know what it takes for me to have to constantly do that? A lot of fucking unnecessary emotional labor that I already have to take on a daily basis just to fucking exist and be who I am. But you don't have the energy to speak up and say something on my behalf? And I just have to keep white-knuckling this?
Dear trans community, don't tell me I have to accept you for who you are when you couldn't accept yourself for who you were. Man, that's actually pretty powerful. No matter what you do to this building, everyone knows it used to be a Pizza Hut. This is what the trans community fails to understand. That is a great object lesson there, my friends.
You preferred your pronouns to be
they and them.
They, them.
Okay.
So,
do you need me to explain how to use that?
Nope, because I'm not going to.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
I'm gonna just say this, and this might piss some people off.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you're more worried about Charlie Kirk than the school shootings,
I am, actually.
there's something wrong with you.
Oh, that's not nice.
Just saying.
With everything that is going on in this country right now.
Okay. All the good stuff.
With all that us Democrats are putting up with. And
you Democrats are putting up with. I think you've got that backwards, my dear.
Trying to deal with. You Democrats in power vote for a resolution for Charlie Kirk.
Wow.
A gut punch. A gut punch. A kick in the head at the worst.
Well, a kick in the head is better than a bullet in the neck. What an idiot.
I hate this timeline.
I hate when people say, I hate this timeline. My gosh, who uses that term? I'm on a timeline. What's this timeline? This timeline's all effed up. You're living life. Just what is so hard about that? Yay.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Yeah, there it is.
I have never been this angry at the Democratic Party ever.
It's time for Dave's Detox. Wow. I would not be comfortable in that same situation. Nice. Don't do it. Oh, you did it. The kitten just keeps following the guy. Oh no. Oh jeez. You take a bigger bite there, bud?
Should I get a dog? Should I get a dog? Should
Yes.
I get a dog?
That's like, nope. You're not gonna get a dog.
Excuse me. Oh, you're so dramatic, bro. Oh.
Oh, it's a dog slinky. Looks like it's got a mustache. What? Okay, yeah, you've almost got it there. Nice.
This is my new carpet. It's new.
Uh-oh.
Come on, man.
All right, my friends, that is it for today. I really do hope you enjoyed the episode, and I thank everyone who subscribed and also that hit that like button, that thumbs up. It makes a difference. And if you chose to share this video with anybody, that is fantastic. Thank you. All right, until the next episode, stay safe, know that you are loved and appreciated, and until we meet again, have a great day.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.